Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome along to the Raw Link Up podcast. I'm your host, the amazing Sniper Beef. We're back. We're back again. We've got Devastate. We've got Master Never in the house. We are ready to talk all things gaming and everything gaming related this week. Mass, we'll start with you. How you doing?
Yeah, very well, thanks. Thank you for asking. And yourself?
Devastate. Yeah. I'm doing very good. I'm very tired today because I woke up at 4 a.m. this morning for some reason and couldn't get back to sleep. So I'm. This needs to be like just like Red Bull ideally, but unfortunately it's just water. Yeah, very tired today, but apart from that, very good. Devastate. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you, Beef. Looking forward to another episode of this podcast. Hope our entire audience is well, wherever you are listening, watching, interacting. Before we begin, hit the subscribe button, hit that bell, hit the notification icon, and remember, follow us on all of our social channels, all in the description below. And make sure you're following us, especially on TikTok and Twitch, because we will have a surprise coming in the next couple of weeks. So make sure you're following us on those channels as well.
Indeed, and if you're following us on YouTube, make sure you give us a thumbs up as well. But let me give you a quick rundown on what we're going to talk through this week. We're going to talk about Xbox, AMD graphics cards, our favorite topic, Ubisoft. The biggest game that's launched in the last week or so, Civ 7. We'll talk about the Esports Olympics, PlayStation sales, Sony state of play, and Mass is going to close us out with a very interesting segment on what games are we going to play at the Link Up, and we're going to talk through one each week. So we'll be doing that each week in the run-up to the Link Up this year. As I said in the last couple of weeks, the Link Up is confirmed. The 27th Royal Annual Royal Link Up even is confirmed for the 5th of July will be the opening ceremony this year, the Saturday. So the 6th of July will be gaming day one. Very, very exciting. And we're so excited. We've created a new WhatsApp group today with all of the crew in it. So very exciting stuff. But let's kick off. Devastate, Xbox next gen console looking like 2027, 2028. For me, that seems a long way away from when the last iteration of the Xbox came around. I'm a big Xbox fan. Don't have one, but obviously I used to be. But it just feels like it's a long way. But talk me through that.
Yeah, so we get these leaks every now and again. We spoke about a Microsoft leak about that they are working on a handheld. We spoke about that way before that a little bit of confirmation came out about that. We broke that news first. So what I want to talk about is that apparently Microsoft have now taken the next Xbox and it's gone past concept and they are beginning to plan dev kit launches. Now, games, as we know, take years and years and years to make. And we've seen like Concord took 8 years to make, went through various articles, it came out as rubbish. But a lot of these games, Grand Theft Auto 6 coming out later this year. It's been 10 years since this game. They've probably been working on this game for 4 or 5 years. So what I think is happening is they're going to have the dev kits out probably by the end of this year, and that will give people or developers 2 or 3 years working with these dev kits to make games for the new consoles. They'll be negotiating suppliers during this period of time. You've got to think about the amount of dev kits that need to be produced and shipped to the large game publishers and game studios. It's a lot of them, so it's all starting and tinkering. The logistics are starting to whirl, but
Yeah, because I think to the logistics point, they would have already like confirmed a time window when that console will launch, and it will likely be Q4 of 27 or Q4 of 2028. They've probably confirmed it already, but obviously this leak is speculating it could be 27 or 28. Whichever it is, it's going to be October, November of that year, you would think. So then it gives the likes of all the game developers and publishers the time to basically work backwards from that point. And then they've also got to start then working with the hardware the hardware suppliers, etc. to put the chips in, the graphics cards, all of the components within the Xbox itself.
Because
Well,
because I was thinking from a hardware perspective, 3.5 years from now, that's a long time. I mean, there's a lot of changes that can happen. I mean,
you'll have a new graphics card by then. I mean that's a guarantee.
Indeed.
So,
Indeed.
but yeah, I mean, where a graphics card's going to be in 2027, 2028 at the end of either of those years from where we are now. I mean,
they might be. I mean, they'll probably be, as you'd expect, much faster and much better, more efficient, etc. But the reality is, they'll be. I assume that they'll be bottlenecked, won't they, by the new by the newer consoles? Because once or the consoles sort of like when they get released, they
they're
last
probably already out of date.
for several. They yeah. Because I mean, they say like the PS4 or something? Didn't they say the hardware when that first came out? They said it was quite out of date when it was released.
Well, yeah, they all will be. They will be because like in the reality, like the time frame that an Xbox or a PlayStation has to then put the hardware together and obviously work with the manufacturers to make sure it works on those consoles is years. And the reality is the GPU manufacturers are on just a continuous cycle of creating new product on a regular basis. So whilst they've just launched the 5080 and 5090s, they're already thinking about the next ones after that, most likely. And at the moment, it's just a case of, right, how much product can we get out to the market in a reasonable fashion to meet demand to that? But they're already working on the 6000s or 660 series, as it would be. But from a Microsoft perspective, or a console perspective, not just Microsoft, same with Sony, etc. When they launch, they're not going to have the latest hardware at all.
But they can't. It's impossible.
Yeah, they can't.
We've just had a 5090 launch and it's £2,000. These consoles are launching and they're £500. You can't you can't even buy a 70 series card. You're not going to be able to buy a 5070 for that money. So
the consoles though are sold at a loss though, aren't they? Anyway, that's what Microsoft. But I accept that yes, the hardware is out of date.
But to your point, it being out of date, this is something which I've seen discussed a few times. Is could you make consoles modular in that you have like PCs, like we can upgrade parts on our PCs. You create them so that they're very easily interchangeable in terms of parts.
Will Steam do that with their console? That's the question.
Don't know.
Because if they bring their console out, because theirs is going to be different in the sense that if they're going to be operating with Steam games, there's going to come a point where there's going to be a Steam game that won't run on their console. Yeah. Whereas if I buy a Nintendo or an Xbox or a PS5, I know it's always going to play the games designed for that console, so that it's not gonna.
But like, I think that if they could make modular consoles work, I think it would be an absolute goldmine because you'd appeal to PC gamers from the point that you can. I don't think
you can do that. What? Let me tell you why. Because games that are developed for PlayStation and for Xbox are finely tuned for one set of devices, for one device. It's a closed ecosystem. You have a developer kit and people basically work on that. The problem you have with PC gaming is that there are so many different graphics cards, so many different CPUs. Like there's such a wide variety of options that they don't ever get the games don't get finely tuned anymore because it's impossible to finely tune for an exact spec. So if you look at an iPhone, for example, every app behaves the same on every iPhone, but every app on Android doesn't behave the same on every iteration of Android because there are so many different specifications of Android device. You've got like this closed ecosystem versus more of an open ecosystem. Same with a lot of Apple devices. But when you're talking about consoles, those are closed environments. If you're developing a game for an Xbox, you do it for the Series X or the Series S. If you do it for the PlayStation, you do it for the PlayStation Pro or the PlayStation 5, and then you might release a game that's for the 4, but and everything's toned down. But you have effectively one ecosystem. As soon as you can start changing those components out, I think that you run into a world of problems for game optimization and game devs.
Yeah, but I mean, you think there has to be a solution though to it, because like from a gaming graphical performance perspective, PCs just piss on consoles all day long.
It's because they're upgradable and you can customize your hardware.
Yeah,
we're getting to a stage with so many different. This is just a more hardware general point, that we've got so many systems now where everything is attached to the motherboard. So your GPU is already on the motherboard, your CPU's on the motherboard, your RAM is soldered. If you look at any of the Mac Pros, everything is already on the motherboard. If you look at there are various other laptop manufacturers, they're already attaching bits and pieces to the board because, like it or not, the PCI bus lanes are quicker when they're already on the board. They don't have to go out via a cable into another device. They control end-to-end optimization. I think it's probably going to go more that way. I think that if we open up the next console, it will all be on one board. I don't think we'll have separate components. I think the only thing that we will get, and which we sort of have today, but it'll improve on, is expandable storage.
Yeah,
because I think the storage they're going to have to ship with half a terabyte of storage.
Nah, way more. Like you look at some of like what's GTA 6 going to be?
3, 4, 5. That's probably going to be.
It's going to be the whole. It's going to be the whole console, isn't it?
Yeah. But now, they ship with a fraction of that now, and you can only fit 3 or 4 games on. I actually think it might be the alluding to Microsoft wanting just to get more into cloud gaming than these.
Yeah.
You might have the high end, the X version, or whatever, the top end box that can do it locally, but they might introduce a local machine, like a small machine like the Series S, but actually that is more tailored towards cloud gaming.
Yeah, all you need is a decent internet connection. I think with the new what's the new fiber that's come out? I can forget what it's called. The one, the 900 down, 900 up. I mean, that's being rolled out like nationally. Like I've just got that on my road.
I have. I've had 1,000 up, 1,000 down for 3 years now.
Yeah, I mean you're in dreamland. But yeah, sorry, mate, we cut you off there.
No, the cloud gaming. There was another company that did that. I can't remember the name of it, but it failed.
Yeah, Google Stadia.
Is that
Google Stadia, and then they had Microsoft's was.
No, I'll recognise the icon if I see it. It's not Google Stadia. It was something.
There was another.
Something else that predates it from late noughties.
Yeah, there was.
It was definitely and I thought, ooh, and it flopped.
Nvidia have also you could do it with Nvidia today, so you can get the Nvidia Shield. And you can get the their cloud game force, which is currently paused because I think they've got some like payment processing issues. But you can sign up and you get basically a spec of PC in the cloud that you pay X amount of money to go and play games. I think that Microsoft want everyone on their Xbox Games Pass. And then they want people cloud gaming. Because ultimately, they have the server capacity to be able to deal with that. And then they don't have to invest any money in hardware. I think that is going to be the long-term play.
Yeah, 100%.
The only thing is you can't really game competitively on cloud because the latency is too slow.
On live, is it on? I think it might be on live. They're the ones who I think that
there was a company that I tried out years and years ago that did it. They were the very first, and then Google Stadia came out, and I was actually quite intrigued to try Google Stadia, but I don't trust anything Google do anymore because they'll just shut it down like a month later.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So
keep posted. We'll keep you up to date on anything new that we hear, especially any of the specifications that we hear.
Yeah, absolutely.
Over the Xbox, new Xbox console.
I think a nice segue into that was it was a bit further down our list, but I'll bring it in now. But PlayStation had its best quarter ever in terms of unit sales. So PS5 lifetime sales is now at 75 million. And when you compare that to the PS4, at the same stage of its life cycle, PS4 was at 76.5. So it's very much creeping up on the PS4 as it would be. But I definitely think that's a portion of that's gonna have to have been the PS5 Pro sales included within that. How many people? I don't think it tells me how many people bought the PS5 Pro. No, it doesn't tell me how many people bought the PS5 Pro specifically. But it's going to be a mildly reasonable number. I don't think it's going to be any like crazy numbers because the price point is just obscene for what it actually is. Most people are going to bought a PS5 rather than a PS5 Pro, but. Yeah, it's going in the right direction. That's for sure in terms of numbers.
Do you know what would be amazing to see? How many?
Wait.
Okay.
Master Nevra's new PC. Vedic becoming a B tier gamer.
I don't know if he'll ever reach those heavy heights.
No, he's never going to reach those heavy heights, is he?
He's
not able to defend himself either. I know he'll be listening. No, he'll be listening.
C plus.
Yeah, C. Well, yeah, C plus. A C plus gamer. Yeah.
If he gets a C plus in Civ, he deserves a C. Yeah, the one thing I'm really interested, I wonder how many PlayStations have been sold secondhand. Because if you think about it,
millions.
But if you think about it, they've sold 75 million. Units was that of the PS5 that people might have sold, that people have paid them, bought them, sold them off. So how much money has actually changed hands buying a PlayStation? It'd be quite an interesting aspect. I reckon that maybe 10% of all brand new PlayStations have been resold.
It's going to be massive, whatever it is, because
that's the sort of decision I'm making about for GTA 6 is: do I buy a PlayStation? Do I buy an Xbox?
For me, it's Xbox because I've got Games Pass. So,
but I have a PC for those games. This is going to be one of the only games that I can't play on a PC at launch. So. Do I just take the opportunity and then go and buy a PlayStation second hand? You can go and pick one up for a couple of £100. Play a couple of the PlayStation exclusives.
They might inflate in price though at the time of the GTA, so you might want to consider getting it earlier.
Unless Rockstar pulls something out of the hat and say, "Oh, PC's launching at the same time," which will go down like the biggest party celebration firework you've ever seen in your life in the PC gaming community. Because can you imagine if they said that?
The amount of worldwide power being used for that opening day, I mean, is extraordinary.
I mean, Vedic took like a bunch of days off to play Civ 7 in the last week or so. The amount of holiday that people take off to play GTA if it was on PC as well. Oh my days!
We spoke about it on the last episode. It's going to be the lowest productivity work day outside of like national holidays in almost we're going to have it's going to be like a national holiday in every country around the world, the amount of people that can be playing it. It's great in countries that don't have enough power. Can you imagine what that first, like the drain on power grids in that first first launch hour is going to be?
Yeah, it's definitely going to test people's network.
Absolutely.
But no, it's well done to PlayStation. They're doing okay at the moment.
Indeed, and I think there's a nice segue into that. We're playing around with the Aura things tonight, but let's go into the Sony State of Play Devastate. That came out, didn't it? And a couple of little surprises in there, wasn't there?
Yeah, so I watched Sony State of Play. Just FYI, we're recording this on the Thursday evening. It will be going out on Valentine's Day, so there's something special for everyone out there to do.
I know. I mean, what's not? Yeah, exactly. Get your loved one, put it on YouTube on your telly, sit here and and listen to our dulcet tones for the best part of an hour. Get yourself a steak and watch some incredible gamers talk about gaming for an hour.
Are you not entertained?
Are you not entertained?
But yes, so this will be going out on Friday, but on Wednesday, yesterday, we had Sony State of Play, and they were showing a lot of the trailers for some of the new games that are coming out this year. And there was a few bits and pieces. There's a lot of them seemed very, very similar. Seemed a lot of new horror games. There's like a new Five Nights at Freddy's. There's a couple of additional DLCs coming out for some games. But one game caught my eye, and it's called Split Fiction. And it's from the creators of It Takes Two. So it is a 2-player game, and you have to solve puzzles together. That's the original. This takes on a new format. This is going to be it's two girls. One is a fiction writer. Sorry, one is a fantasy writer, and one is a sci-fi writer. And you have like these intertwining story elements and puzzles that you have to solve. And it looks really, really nice, really well polished. By the terms of the original game, that was very good. So this game really caught my eye, and I think it could be quite a big hit. Although I don't know whether it is a PS5 exclusive or not. I have a gut feeling it might be. It might be on all of them. It might be.
Yeah,
on
I can see it on I can see it on both PS5 and on Xbox as well. So, yeah, I was just about to say it reminds me of another game, It Takes Two, and it actually is by the previous the previous developer.
And there is one really cool and important thing on it, that that the game will feature friend pass. So if I have brought the game, I can invite one of you to come and play with me for free.
Oh, friend!
Which is, but I think that's like.
That's
in order to play the game, like both of you have to buy it. That's a bit shoddy. I think this is just quite a cool thing. So it means you can just split the cost with a friend, and you get a good time out of it. And if it's going to be on,
I was about to say it's almost like the old school LAN days, wasn't
it? Yeah. No, really good. So yeah, I thought that was something just worth talking about, because I think out of everything, that was the one that sort of impressed me the most.
Indeed. Right, moving on. The inaugural Olympic Esports Games is now pretty much confirmed to take place in 2027 in Saudi Arabia. Was originally scheduled for 2023 and then for 2025. But now it's essentially been delayed to 2027. But it looks like it will be now definitively in 2027, which I think will be very, very good. Obviously, I should get an invite for most games for that. But, I mean, obviously, I can represent a multitude of countries. So, I mean, the jury's out as to whether I'll go or not. Obviously, Saudi Arabia is quite a hot country. I'm very white. I burn quite easily. So, luckily, it's all indoors. Be very well air conditioned. But obviously, if I go out for a break, it's going to be a bit challenging. But no, I'll be very much looking forward to the Esports Olympics. I think that'll be really, really good.
I assume no alcohol's there again.
Oh no!
Yes,
they just announced, didn't they, with the World Cup? They said no alcohol. So yeah.
Yeah. But obviously, as gamers, Mace, all we drink is Red Bull. I mean, we don't need anything else. We don't need alcohol. We just need sugar and taurine is all we require to game, and pizza.
Coke 00.
Yeah, Coke double zero.
And if Monster want to sponsor us during the link, it would be very much appreciated.
Yeah, Devastate loves a Monster. Is it a white one? The white one? There it is.
Literally, I've always got one within arm's reach.
Yeah. And obviously, the same goes to Domino's, Pizza Hut, Papa John's, Burger King, McDonald's, Subway,
And,
KFC.
of course, Turkish Delight.
No, we don't need Turkish. Toblerone.
Let us know what your favourite sweets, chocolate, fast food, and fizzy drinks are in the comments.
Whilst you're gaming, what is your go-to snack?
What's your gaming snacks? Gaming snacks.
Yeah, gaming snacks.
Or do you know what we should do? We need to do a tier list of gaming snacks.
That sounds like next week's job. Absolutely one for next week.
Yeah.
I mean, my gaming snack is very much a cup of tea with some rich tea biscuits at the moment. That's a definitive favourite for me at the moment. But let's move on to the big game of the moment. Civilization 7, and we'll do a big deep dive with Vedic next week. We'll make sure we can pull him away for an hour to do the podcast and talk all things Civ 7. But Matt, we've obviously seen it. Me and Mass have watched quite a lot of it. Watched Vedic play it quite a lot this week. My take. It looks very pretty compared to Civ 6. It's very, very complicated. Like, you really need to be on the ball and know what you're doing to be good at that game, because there's so many elements to it. But on the grapevine, Vedic completed a game of Civ, both single player and multiplayer, in the first week, which is quite a feat, because I've never completed a game. I've never seen when they've had tanks and ships, and we were watching him and he had tanks and ships, and I was like, wow, I've never seen this. Matt, what was your take on it?
Not just tanks and ships, there was bombers
Aircraft,
as well.
Yeah.
So, well, I don't think he has. I mean, I don't want to speak for Vedic, but at a high level, I mean, he is very, very happy. You can see that he has no regrets.
I mean, he had done
time to play it.
56 hours by, I think, Sunday or Monday. Yeah. Like, you think, Devastate, like, I was logging on to do work at like 9 a.m. and he's there and he's still playing like when I'm going to bed, like every day. Not quite non-stop, but in a 12-hour period, he's probably doing 10 hours of Civ. Would you say, Mass? That's probably about right?
Something around there, yeah, I suppose, yeah.
So, I mean, but since obviously when I got that 56 out, he's probably pushing 100 hours in the first week, which is incredible, incredible numbers. But Devastate, let's talk about the reviews, and the numbers of people playing with it.
Yeah, so let me tweak on the numbers first, then the amount of people playing the game, and then the reviews, because they'll shed some light into it all. So, all-time peak, which was 2 days ago, 80,000 players playing it simultaneously. As of recording, there was 66,000 people playing the game. So, great numbers. It is down on Civilization 6 when that came out. That came out to massive fanfare. And that opening weekend, they saw a peak of 162,000.
Is it because they staggered the release? I assume that some people didn't want to pay the money up front, maybe for the 5 days early access. I don't know if that has a factor on it.
I think it probably will, because I would think that there'll probably be a lot of people maybe buying it today or tomorrow in prep to play it over the weekend. So maybe when we do the sort of deep dive with Vedic on it next week, we re-review the numbers as it would be, and then possibly we'd then see a bit of a peak, because I think, to your point, Mass, I think not a lot of people are going to pay well over 100 quid for the game. They might rather just, I'll wait a week and have the bog standard.
I still wonder if that will become more of a standard for AAA games, like Grand Theft Auto. You will pay 100. You will be paying £100 for a game. But I think that it's that point as well. But also, I wonder if historically, because Civilization games is quite a complex game, maybe it's very difficult to get strike the right balance when you initially launch the game, and some people may have been deterred and put off. I know I've even read some people wait, not even months, they wait even a full year sometimes until the game's been refined or redone accordingly until they're ready to sort of buy it, essentially.
I mean, quite often I think it was the case on 6 that Vedic didn't like 6 when that came out until a DLC came out 12 months later. That you had to pay for, but essentially changed a lot of the balancing and they changed a lot of the elements in the game and the units and such. And that made him play the game at that point. So I do agree.
He wouldn't play the game without that add-on, essentially. Which
I remember.
Gathering Storm is the add-on, if I remember correctly.
So so the numbers aren't what they are. Be interested to see. So 80,000 currently is the cap. Does it get above 100 next week? So we'll report on that. It might be just a quick bit that we just say on it next week when we hear back from Reddit. I do, as you said, want to just touch on reviews because it is severely mixed. So, as I say, we've had 80,000 people play the game. 21,000 reviews. That is an insane amount of reviews to people who have played the game. Like
in a week.
25% have left a review. I don't think if you 25% of your customer base to review something ever happens in any form of business, unless you're incentivized, of course. They obviously aren't. And it is 21,000 reviews, 51.9% average. So delving into that, so we've had 11,000 positives, 10,000 negatives. The interesting thing is that actually, as it has come out of advanced access into the full Steam release, that the volume of reviews have shot through the roof.
Yeah.
It has got its reviews. It was on 39% initially, so it has creeped up to sort of 51%. It is historically renowned again, Civ, for starting off with sort of bad to mixed reviews, and then it progressively gets better as the weeks, the months, and even the years go on.
Now there was a patch that came out following the advanced access to address some of the issues, and I know that that one of the big new features of the game are these new characters that you can have a certain character with a certain race, and then they can have like these called memento. I think they're memento, something like that. And watching Spiffing Brits video, they absolutely can break the game. They can basically auto win you the game because one of them basically does like ups your population 1 every turn. Like if you put, and it basically means it's just an auto win essentially. And one of them is like you can get it so that you can generate enough money per turn to get a new settler every turn. So there was there's been some great videos from Spiffing Brit on his live stream and on his YouTube channel, highly recommended YouTuber, where he intentionally breaks games. But I think that some of those elements have now been applied in the patch. I wouldn't be surprised to see another patch coming out in the next couple of days as well.
I think the biggest point for most people was the user interface. People were complaining some of the stuff looks very old and dated, almost sort of like it was rushed, or sort of like, I don't know, it was as if it was just done and then they didn't go back to sort of refine it or do anything to make it look, because people were saying how old it looks and dated.
Well, I mean, we'll get Vedic's rundown on that on next week, and we will start badgering him in the next few days to make sure that he partakes next week, because we need the rundown on that. Right, I think we'll very quickly touch on Ubisoft, because I'm conscious on timing of this week. I don't want to be going too long, but yeah, Ubisoft says Assassin's Creed Shadows pre-sale, so it's coming out in May. Is it May or March?
March 20th.
March. pre-sales are ahead of where expectations were, which for a Ubisoft game is, I mean, maybe their expectations was 5 pre-sales and they've got 6. Because obviously we know that Ubisoft hasn't made a good game since Siege. So yeah, they're ahead of expectations. So it's a good thing for Ubisoft. And obviously we talked about last week they had a couple of offices shutting down, which obviously isn't good for their staff, etc. But this seems to be going in the right direction. Will I think any of us be playing it? Probably not. But it's a step in the right direction.
Yeah, and I think it's important that we acknowledge good news stories with bad news stories. And this is ultimately a good news story for Ubisoft, that people, despite having a little bit of controversy surrounding the character, that obviously this is the main character is a black samurai, and there's a lot of uproar about it, and that people have actually not really cared that much, apart from a few in the online space who I might have upset. And they have basically, people are pre-ordering the game. So I think it is a good news story. Whether or not it gets the reviews and how well it does at launch and a week after launch, will yet to be seen. But it is a good news story for Ubisoft, and by golly, do they need some good news in that company, because they've not had it good the last couple of months.
No, definitely not. Right, I was about to go into our last story here, but I completely missed one, which was our number 2 on the list, because I've played around with the order a bit this evening. But AMD have, or in the process of launching a graphics card with a small amount of VRAM, 32 gig, which is obscene for VRAM, and it's not even a high top end card, is it? For Devastate, it's a mid tier. It's like Vedic in gaming. It's just mid.
Yeah.
Very mid.
So this is a real strange one. So the RX 9070 XT, so that traditionally is on par with a 5070 Ti. It's going to be roughly.
Yeah.
But they're going to be launching this card with 32 gigabytes of VRAM, which is absolutely mind-blowing. And the only reason that I can think that this could be on the cards is that card is going to be designed for video editors.
It
feels the only thing that if you're editing video footage in 4K and you can't afford to go with the £2,000 5090, that this is actually a good editor card for the price, because as we spoke about many times, that 4K gaming, unless you've got 16 gigs of VRAM, it's not going to be good enough. So this sort of feels that it's for 4K gaming, but at the same time the specs aren't amazing. The only other thought, it could be for AI and something in the AI space. But to be honest, if you're in the AI space, you go NVIDIA, you don't go AMD. So are they trying something new? I mean, who knows? It could be really good. It just feels a little bit weird and odd. And until we see some benchmarks of it, I think it'll be really interesting. But it's just one to keep an eye on, because the other cards are way below.
Steps above.
Yeah.
Right. Well, now moving on to the last port of call, which will make this a regular segment in now the run up to the link up this year. We will talk through a particular game that we are thinking about, or will be, or might be playing at the link up each week. This week, Mass is going to take the reins, as it would be. Talk us through the game, tell us what it is, and sell it to us. Sell the benefits.
It's making me hungry even just looking at it. It's I don't think it's anything we've ever really played, but anything like something that we've played before at a link up. So it's Fast Food Simulator. It's by the developer and publisher No Ceiling Games. On Steam, it is in early access at the moment, but it's up to a
we'll tag No Ceiling Games in the link description.
It is a solo, or you can do a co-op of up to 6 players. So my proposal is that if we can get enough of us, that we could have 2 teams potentially, and we'd be running our fast food joints, and then you can see who makes the most money. Essentially, you are making the food, ordering the food, cooking the food, serving the food. So yeah, it looks, as one of the other Raw linkers said, Cookie Monster, also known as his own dumb self, said, this looks all sorts of bad, I'm in. So I know that there's definitely going to be at least 2 of us. So, and I think Potato might be also in. So yeah.
Yeah, I think it's interesting with all of these simulators because there's so many. There's Streamer Life Simulator, there's Video Shop Simulator, there's
Farming Simulator,
like all of these
Boat
things.
Simulator.
We have never ran. Correct me if I'm wrong. We've never done any form of simulation gaming, but they're incredibly popular in the streaming space.
We've done sim racing, I think, a little bit, a couple of times, but we've never really done like any sort of simulator game at the link because it's never really lent itself. So, like back in the day, Microsoft Flight Simulator,
yeah,
we might have had a look at it, and the odd person might have played it for
Can't
5-10
be
minutes.
multiplayer though. That's the problem.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas I like Mass's idea of 6-on-6 because I'm looking at the numbers for the link up at the moment in the link up WhatsApp group. If I take 2 out, and we've probably got 12. Probably, so 6-on-6 would work.
Yeah, and what you could do is, and the speciality with Steam is you can buy the game, and we have 1 hour and 58 minutes, and like the team who's got to make the most money in 2 hours of gameplay.
Yeah,
I like the idea. Look, we can't knock the game until you try it.
Exactly.
It could be an OD, or it could be the next.
What's the cost?
It's got good review. It's got very good reviews. £12.79. So, but I mean,
nothing.
Well, yeah. And we'll have we're going to have a Steam sale, so it might be part of that. So,
yeah. Let us know in the comments what have you played? What's it? Fast Food Simulator.
Yep.
Fast Food Simulator. Let us know if you played it, or any of the other games in the franchise. And do you think it'd be a good fit for the link? Tell us down below.
Yeah, and any games that you want to see in this segment that you think are definitely worth talking about. Obviously, we discussed Tempest Rising last week, which I think was an absolute no-brainer for us. If you've got any games that you think or you'd like us to discuss, please do drop them in the comments because I think that helps us. Because honestly, there's some games where we've stumbled across it like the week before the link up, and then we have rinsed that game for a week, and it's been honestly incredible. So. And if it wasn't on our radar, we never would have played it. So like Rust, for example, back in 2015, like we played the hell out of that game for a week, didn't we? And it was really good. So any games that you got for this segment, we would love to know. Drop them in the comments. I think that's pretty much it for this episode, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Nearly choked. Thank you all for listening. And watching, we really appreciate it. Drop us a subscribe, turn your notifications on, and give us a thumbs up as well. Until next week, and we'll hopefully get Vedic on next week, and see if we can get maybe some of the other link up crew as well. Until next week, I've been Beef the Legend.
I've been Devastate.
And I've been Massinivry. Tofu.
Catch you later, peeps. Bye bye.